Hello and welcome to the channel, and welcome to this 40k update review video. Lots of things have been happening the last couple of days. There's so much I'm struggling to keep up. I'm sure you viewers are as well. Not only have we got all the Grotmas detachments, we've just had the balanced data slate drop. We've had the review, what's it called, rules commentary drop. We've had loads of changes. We've had points changes. We've had new data sheets. Oh my god, it's almost like an entire new game. So I'm going to sort of very quickly go through sort of the main changes that jump out at me and that are related to the factions that I play. If I've missed anything, or if you want to talk about anything, feel free to comment below. I'm more than happy to drop in the comments and respond and join in the conversation. If you like the content, smash the like button. If you want to see more, hit subscribe. There'll be a battle report normally every week, along with other things like maybe this occasionally. And yeah, let's dive right in. So, balanced data slate, December 2024. There's only a few major changes, really, sort of to the core rules. One, you can no longer deep strike just more than 3 inches away. It's now got to be just more than 6 inches away. So that affects all sorts of things like Inceptors, Aquilans, Trigons. Yeah, I mean, it says here stratagems, but all these data sheets have had their rules updated to be more than 6 inches away. So it's not just the stratagems that's changed for, it's the data sheets as well. So the data sheets I've mentioned have been updated to say more than 6 inches away. And the stratagems that allow it, such as Cosmic Precision, and there are others as well, have now been changed to say more than 6 inches away. So there's no longer having to screen out 3 inches in your back passage. You don't want a 3-inch screen in your back passage. That sounds very painful. Now it's a 6-inch, which probably sounds even more painful, but at least it's easier to screen, I guess, without trying to sound too ridiculous about that. But anyway, yes, so it's easier to screen out all these closer deep strikey things, because now they can only come in just over 6 inches away rather than just over 3 inches away. So I think that's a good change. I think some of these units were just making it far too easy to score secondaries and things. So, okay, it's going to annoy some people, but I think it makes sense for the game as a whole, for the abilities and stratagems for those things changing. Another one, which everyone thought was going to be a massive nerf to Space Marines. I mean, it kind of is. Stratagems that worsen AP, such as Armour of Contempt and things like Armour of Contempt, but not called Armour of Contempt, such as Reinforced Hive Node, Unfailingly Obdurate from the Chaos Space Marines and things like that. Instead of worsening the AP for the entire phase now, it's just from that one unit. So essentially you only really want to spend this now when you've got one unit of many attacks hitting you. But yeah, okay, it's a bit of a nerf, but I can kind of see why they've done that. So that's the core rule changes in the data slate. In terms of other changes, sort of whiz through the factions very quickly. The sisters have been nerfed again. They've been doing it, doing it for themselves for too long apparently. And Games Workshop is still trying to figure out how to balance miracle dice. So they're sort of fiddling around with when you gain miracle dices or miracle die, because dices isn't the plural of dice, it's die. But anyway, so they've changed that. They've nerfed the Triumphs of St. Catherine ability. I think previously it gave you an additional miracle dice that was a 6. Now it just makes the one miracle dice you get a 6. So, okay, fine. And they've nerfed the Bringers of Flame detachment to make all the really good stratagems cost more. And then the extra strength you get on your ranged attacks now only applies within 6 inches, not within 12. So, okay. So, yeah, a bit of a nerf there for sisters. Custodes players are going to really enjoy this data slate along with the new detachment they've just got, but I'm not going to discuss Grotmas. I think everyone's having fun reading their own detachments, and there's loads of videos about them anyway, such as Allspec Tactics. The main thing with Custodes, there's quite a few things changed, but the main thing is bikes are kind of good again. They've got toughness, they've got more wounds, and their salvo launchers can maybe deal with vehicles now. Which is nice, because before they were rubbish. So that's good. And the Hurricane Bolters have got a little bit better as well, getting that extra AP and extra damage. Damage on a Hurricane Bolter. Crazy. So yeah, that's really good for Custodes players. They're the main changes there. Ardbeg I'm not even going to look at because that'll just give me a headache. Eldari, I don't think anything changed this time round. The Guard, Astra Militarum. The new change is Lord Solar can now only order regiment and squadron units, which is kind of fine. It essentially means you can't order things like Bullgrins, Ogrins, Ratlins, and Titanic Baneblade variants, essentially, and other things like that. But it's okay, because I think most people have dropped Lord Solar these days anyway, and then they'll just bring in tank commanders, because tank commanders have got a squadron and can just order themselves. I haven't used Lord Solar since tank commanders got their buff, so that's not going to bother me. But for people who like Titanic units getting ordered, or like Bullgrins getting ordered, that's going to affect you. But then again, Bullgrins got hits. Bullgrins, not Bullgrons? Bullgrins got hit so much from the points nerf last time round. I think people are using them less anyway. So, okay, it's a nerf to Lord Solar, but I don't think this is really going to affect too many people with the current state of guard. And then, yeah, the precision dropped from Aquilons, as well as it now changing to 6 inches. It's now, you can only drop just outside of 6 inches only in your movement phase, so you can't rapid ingress just outside of 3 inches anymore. You can only rapid ingress 9, or deep strike normally in your own movement phase 6 inches away. So yeah, we mentioned a bit about that earlier. Black Templars, no changes. Not Black Templars, Blood Angels, no changes. Black Templars, a couple of changes. They're trying to improve APs to combat knives, which is fantastic, because a combat knife should have a bit of AP. I mean, it's a knife. Call that a knife? No, this is a knife. So they're getting a bit of AP, which is nice. Some changes to Chaos Knights. So okay, that's nice. Yeah, they're trying to make Chaos Knights decent. So, because they're pretty rubbish at the moment. So some little tweaks and buffs, I think, for Chaos Knights there. Chaos Space Marines, there's been some changes to some detachments. So, again, it's the one that we mentioned earlier, setting up more than 6 inches away. That's going to apply sort of all over the place. Predator Annihilators. You can now not just reroll damage rolls of 1, you can reroll all damage rolls when shooting monsters or vehicles. Now, this isn't just a change to Chaos Predator Annihilators, it also affects the Space Marine Predator Annihilators, so that's good. People might bring them now instead of, what's the Primaris one called? Is it the Lancer? That gets the big gun and the rerolls. So, yeah, that's good for internal balance for Space Marines, and they couldn't do it for Space Marines and not do it for Chaos, so that's kind of fine. It also makes the Annihilator a bit more of a choice compared to the Destructor, because I think most people were just running Predator Destructors for Chaos anyway, but now the Annihilator is an interesting choice. Other changes, let's whiz through. Nothing else for Chaos Space Marines. Chaos Demons, okay, improved weapon skill on Screamers, fine. Dark Angels, they've been changing I think this is the Ravenwing detachment. So they can fall back, shoot and charge, advance, shoot and charge now, which is nice for bikes. And there's an enhancement that allows you to reroll advance and charge rolls, so that's nice. Other recent changes to the Dark Angels include Lionel Johnson. His sweep attack has now gone to damage 2. I'm pretty sure it was damage 1 before, so that's nice. So yeah, some nice little changes for Dark Angels. When we have a look at the points though, I'm pretty sure Lionel Johnson went up in points though, probably because of this change. But that's kind of fine, I think. And then I'm assuming this ability has changed for Samael, the Grandmaster of the Ravenwing, because of the detachment change. So they're not just sort of doing the same thing. So that's nice, I guess. Again, we've got Predator Annihilator for Death Guard. And now Mortarion can now Deep Strike. Was he not able to Deep Strike before? I thought he did. But apparently, maybe he didn't before, but now he can. So that means that he's got wings. Death Watch, we'll see here, it says none. Before, for the Death Watch, we had the special ammunition changes in the Dataslate, which meant their special ammo could only be used on bolt weaponry. Now they can use it on any weaponry. The stratagem itself is now limited to just kill team units, whereas before I think it was 2 kill team units or 1 Adeptus Astartes infantry unit. So you're restricted into what units you can use it on now, but it's going to affect all ranged weapons in that unit. So doing special ammunition on Fortis kill teams and Indomitor kill teams on all their weapons is going to be nice. You know, Fortis kill team could do it on all your plasmas and your bolters, and the flamers if you put Infernus Marines in, or you know, on all the weapons in your Indomitor kill team, for example, and all your melter rifles and your flamers and your bolters and all the guns in the unit now, which is nice. So yeah, that's a good change. Genestealer cults, there's been loads of changes with Genestealer cults. Yeah, I mean, got the resurgence points which have been changed. I think these are now the things that you use to bring things back. I haven't faced Genestealer cults for a little while, so I'm not going to go into this in too much detail because I haven't actually read it. It's a lot there, but I will be facing Genestealer cults soon. So when that happens, I'll go through it in that battle report and discuss the changes. But there's lots of Genestealer cult changes for their cult ambush and things coming back again, and all these sorts of things. So that's nice, I guess, that they're trying to do something with the Genestealer cults and make them work. Lots of changes with Genestealer cults. Scrolling through Necrons, yeah, interesting changes. Hypercrypt, you can't pick up as many things as you could before and drop them back down again. And then the Annihilation Legion attachment now actually affects shooty destroyers, not just melee destroyers. So that's nice. It's the destroyer attachment that now actually helps all destroyer units. So that makes sense. Orcs, biggest change, I guess, is that the War, you now call it in the command phase, not the start of the battle round. So that's good-ish, maybe, don't know. But it's more in line with some of the other factions' army rules, like both a moment and stuff. So I think that's fine. And then, you know, that they've updated a few detachment rules and things there to try and help balance them and make more things go off the wire. So that's kind of good. Now, Space Marines, big changes for the Space Marines. Oath of Moment. If you're not using a supplement Space Marine chapter, you get +1 to wound as well as the reroll hits, basically. So if you're not running Black Templars or Blood Angels or Dark Angels, Death Watch or Space Wolves, you get +1 to hit as well as the reroll hits. So this is going to affect your Ultramarines, your Raven Guard, your Imperial Fists, all the other ones. They needed to do something to help normal Space Marines get more balance with the supplements. I think this has probably done it. So now Space Marine players have got a choice. Do I bring my special units for my Dark Angels or for my Blood Angels? Or do I not bring them and get the +1 to wound? It's now an interesting decision. So let's see how that works. I think it's going to make normal Space Marines better. I don't think they're going to be super OP. I think in particular it's going to really help out the Ultramarines. To combat this though, they have actually nerfed Fire Discipline. You're not getting your critical hits on 5s now if you're in Devastated Doctrine. You can just reroll the advances for when you advance and shoot, but it still gives you sustained hits. And yes, it still costs 40 points. So, okay, fine. Other changes, ranged weapon changes for Gravis has improved across the board. Probably so it's more in line with what the Death Watch Gravis bolters and things are like. So you get more damage on these Mastercrafted Heavy Bolt Rifle. We're also getting more damage on the standard Heavy Bolt Rifle and better ballistic skill on the Heavy Bolter for the Heavy Intercessors. So that's kind of nice. Also, the Pyroblasters on Infernus Marines are now AP1, so that's nice. As mentioned in Scepters, you can now drop in only more than 6 inches away. Infernus Marines, you know, give things a battle shock at -1, so that's kind of good. Intercessors, if the entire intercessor squad shoots at one target, you get an extra 2 shots on all your bolt rifles, so that's kind of good. And then they've added new abilities for all the other chapter characters, which are kind of nice, like Ironfather, Ferius, Shrike, Khan, and so on, which all kind of help the units that make that army feel more Raven Guardy or more White Scary and things, so that's nice. Outriders no longer advance to flight 6, instead they get extra strength and damage when they charge, so that's nice. Predator Annihilate, as we mentioned earlier. And Reavers everyone, they're trying to make Reavers good. But they're making them do their battle shock thing better and stuff, so that's nice. Let's see if people actually bother using Reavers now. They can also decrease OC as well, which is nice. Robute Guilliman, he can now pick 2 of his abilities from his datasheet, not just 1 in each command phase, so that's really good. So not only can he pick a second overwhelm moment if you kill your first overwhelm moment, you can pick one of the other ones as well. And let's not forget that overwhelm moment's changed, so that's really good. But his points have gone back up to kind of where they were before to counter that. But I think no one's really going to complain too much about the points increase because he's got better. Stern Guard now, if they shoot the overwhelm moment target, it's not reroll wound rolls of 1, it's just reroll all wound rolls. Combining that with the +1 to the wound roll, that kind of makes Stern Guard pretty good. And loads of blades and knives, they've now got AP again. So combat knives, paired combat blades, that's good, it's good. They're making Reaver's knives actually do something in addition to their battle shock thing actually do something. So some good buffs across the board for Space Marines, which is nice. Let's keep going through here. Wolf Scouts knives as well for Space Wolves. All the knives in the game now actually act as knives, so that's good. Thousand Suns Predator Annihilator, same as the other Predator Annihilators, reroll damage rolls. Tyranids, no real changes of note. They're making the assimilation swarm detachment a little bit better, I guess, because probably nobody uses it because it's not very good. And they've given the non-assimilator the harvester keyword as well to again try and help this detachment, I think. And as we've already mentioned, Trigons can only deep strike more than 6 inches away now. So there's also only in your movement phase, so you can't rapid ingress either. It's only in your movement phase. So if you want to rapid ingress him, you can, but it's 9 inches away. So interesting. Any changes for the World Eaters? We've got the Predator Annihilator change. The World Eater's Demon Prince doesn't have wings. It's got a slight increase, I believe, to its stability of giving it invulnerable saves. So that's kind of nice. And that's it. So yeah, lots of changes. Space Marines, are they good now? Does this make them good? +1 to wound. Increasing AP and damage on certain weapons. Extra abilities. I think Space Marines are getting good rather than just being a Horde army, because they shouldn't be a Horde army, they're Space Marines. So that's good. That's very good. I like these changes. Nothing really bad in there. Let's take a look at the rules commentary. Not really much changed here. The one thing I will point out as changing is Fire Overwatch. Now, most people were probably playing this wrong before, but now they'll be playing it right. So previously, Overwatch, you can only do it after an enemy unit had made a move, advance, fallback, or charge move. So that's only at the start or an end of those moves. That's only if someone actually successfully made a charge could you have overwatched them before they made the charge move. So, you know, even if someone, so for example, if someone declared a charge against you and failed the charge, you couldn't actually overwatch them because they wouldn't have made a charge move. Now, it's when you declare a charge, which I think is better, and I think that's probably how everyone's been playing it anyway. So as soon as someone declares a charge, that's when you decide if you want to overwatch or not. Whether they fail the charge or not, you can still overwatch them. So I think that's a good change. And like I said, I think most people had been playing it that way anyway. So yeah, that's fine. That's good. It all makes sense. That's the only real thing worth mentioning in the rules commentary, I think. So let's move on to looking at some points changes. I'll point out the key ones, although they're highlighted anyway. Now, sisters, we saw that they were nerfed anyway, and now they've been handed another nerf. The Exorcist, which was already expensive, is even more expensive, and likewise with the Castigator. I think sisters now are really going to struggle competitively, because they've nerfed their best detachment and then nerfed two of their units which were good and already expensive. Yeah, sisters are going to have some problems. I think they probably need to put some of the points back down a bit, but okay. Custodies, all the bite units are going up in points, but we know why. It's because they've got more toughness, more wounds, and better weapons now. So I think that's fine. I don't see many Custodies players complaining about that. They'd rather have the bites good but be more expensive than be cheap but be rubbish. So that's good. I'd make nothing much really of note there. Our Diary apparently are perfectly balanced now. Astra Militarum. Now this one, maybe sort of question it a bit. Cadians have gone up 5 points to 65 for a 10-man unit. Okay, fine. Catachans, a unit of 10 Catachans have gone up to 65 points. Unit of 20 is 120. Why? 10 points? It's up to 60 points? Fine, because people like having scout chimeras and things, and scout units are really good. Put them up a little bit, that's kind of okay. But should they be the same amount of points as Cadians and Death Corps? Not really, because their weapons are a lot worse. Cadians give you sticky objectives. I don't know. I think 60 points would have been fine. But in tandem to those units going up, the Chimera has gone up a whopping 15 points to 85. I kind of get it. I've been using Chimeras a lot. They're good. Especially now that they get lethal hits on the move against vehicles and they put out a lot of shots. Yeah, 15 points though, I don't know. Up to 80 points, I think will be fine. But let's see how that. I think these going up is kind of okay, but not as much as they have gone up. Gaunt's Ghosts have gone up 10 points as well to 110, which I think is really odd. For 110 points. If you want something that does what Gaunt's Ghosts do, just bring a Calidus Assassin now. It's 100 points and she's smaller and she can fit in easier. Hellhound going up a bit, I think that's fine because Hellhounds were really good at 115 points, 125. I think they're still good. Lord Solar's gone up 25 points despite his nerf now, so that's interesting, but okay. Big units of Ogrins have gone up. Small units of Ogrins are fine, but big units of Ogrins have gone up. That's interesting. Especially seeing as you can't order them now with Lord Solar. But okay. Aquilans have gone up. I don't think anyone's surprised by that. With their deep striking now just outside of 6 inches shenanigans. I think they'll still be good, but not ridiculously as OP as they were. Normal units of Psalms going up 10 points for every 5 models. I think that's kind of okay. I think they were around 60 points at the start of 10th. Big units of Psalms can do a lot of damage on the deep strike. Little units for 60 points dealt with secondaries, I think it's fine. So I think these are okay and expected. Ogrins is a bit surprising. Lord Solar's very surprising considering he's been nerfed. The Catchans and Chimeras I kind of understand, but I think it's a bit too much. But let's wait and see. Black Tempers have a couple of drops on things, which is nice. Blood Angels, a couple of increases. Mephiston, I mean, he was really good. At 125. And then they've had an enhancement go up quite a bit as well. Sanguinary Guard, though, have dropped. So, okay, not all bad. Not all bad for Blood Angels if you're running Mephiston and Sanguinary Guard. Your list hasn't changed. Chaos Demons, a few things dropping, a few things going up. Screamers have gone up. which would look like a nerf, but let's not forget that AP has gone up, so that's probably why. Chaos Knights have had some drops because they need some help. Chaos Space Marines, big unit of bikers have dropped, probably because no one brings big units of bikes, everyone just brings the small units. At least I do anyway. Dark Angels, Lionel Johnson's gone up, but his sweep attack profile's gone up, and he can go through walls now, let's not forget. So, yeah, okay. Death Guard are apparently perfectly balanced, so okay. Death Watch, nothing's changed from the Grotmust attachment that just came out, so no surprise in there, it's only just come out, and I think the points are kind of right anyway, from my own experience, so I think that's fine. Drukhari have got some increases and some decreases, so okay. Gene City Cults have had some big increases, but I think this is due to some of their rules changes that are in the data slate, so it might look like a nerf, but it probably isn't. Grey Knights, never said Dread Knight has gone up a little bit, but literally 5 points. Pure Knights have had some drops on the small knights, so that's nice, but nothing real to write home about. Votan, Fennekin have gone down a little bit. Okay, but it's only a minor tweak. Now Necrons, lots of changes for Necrons. All the Catans have gone up. Who's not surprised? I'm not surprised. Wraiths have gone down though, which is interesting, but it's probably because the Technomancer is quite expensive these days. Necron Warriors, a 10-man unit has dropped in points, which is interesting. Because with a 10-man unit, obviously you don't get as much out of the reanimation, so I think that's kind of useful. That's good. Plasmasters have dropped, which I think is very interesting. Ophidian Destroyers have dropped a little bit. Royal Warden's gone up. Why has a Royal Warden gone up? I don't know. But he has. But he's still only 50 points, so he's still cheap. Immortals 5-man units dropped a little bit. Ghost Arcs dropped a little bit, probably because nobody uses them. Hexmark Destroyer's gone up because of his really good Overwatch potential, no doubt. So some interesting changes there. Orcs, all bosses have gone up, but I think that's because they've got a change in the data slate, which makes them better. Now Space Marines, if you hadn't read the data slate and you're reading the points, you'd probably complain, but I think after reading the data slate, these aren't too bad. I think they're fine. Heavy intercessors have gone up a lot. They've gone up a lot, heavy intercessors, but let's not forget their weapons are now damaged too. So they can actually do some damage now, as well as be durable. And if you've got Iron Master Furious for Iron Hands, they get better OC as well. So, yeah. Inceptors have dropped. This is because they can't drop down just outside of 3 now. It's just outside of 6. So I think that's fine. Infernus Marines have gone up a little bit. That's because they're getting AP on their flames, which also ignore cover now. So that's fine, I think. Kelgar's gone up a little bit. Probably because Gravis models have gone up. That's my feeling there. So yeah, it's an interesting one. Reavers have gone up a little bit, but that's because their rules are a lot better now. They've got AP on their knives and they're more likely to battle shock and mess with OC and things, which is nice. As mentioned earlier, Gwillem's gone back up to kind of where he was, but he's a lot better now because of his own change and the Oath of Moment change. Scouts have gone up a little bit. I think that's okay. I think people are still going to bring a unit of scouts for 70 points. Stern Guard have gone up a little bit, but that's because their rule's better now. And Ventress has gone up a little bit, but that's probably because his rule changed in the last data slate, because he's got the increased CP for opponent stratagems within 12 ability, which is good. So, yeah, I think those changes are okay. Space Wars, a couple of units that are better have now gone up in points a little bit. Tau, Tiger Shot's gone up, okay. Who actually owns one of these things and cares? Thousand Suns are apparently perfectly balanced. Tyranids got a few drops in points, which I quite liked. Trigon, I was expecting that because he can't come in outside of 3 now, it's outside of 6, so okay. Tyrant Guard have dropped a little bit, but not by much. And the Norns have dropped a little bit, which is nice. Because they were quite pricey, but they're still fairly pricey, but they are quite good. So, okay, I think that's fine. Good changes for Tyranids. Wild Eaters are apparently perfectly balanced. And that's it for points. So interesting ups and downs. I think after looking at the data slate, they all kind of make sense. But yeah, interesting changes. Space Marines might be good now. All their things are slightly more killy, over moments better. All their named characters are better, notably Guilliman. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how Marines do now. Speaking of Space Marines, there's this chap, Lieutenant Titus. His data sheet came out the other day. So let's have a quick look through Lieutenant Titus. He's a lieutenant, but instead of giving lethal hits, he gives sustained hits. So he's a different type of lieutenant. I think he can basically join exactly the same units as normal lieutenants, so that's fine. That's good. Sad thing is, he only has a bolt pistol and a chainsword. Heavy bolt pistol is, yeah, okay, fine. Chainsword, he's got many attacks with it. He's got 8 attacks, and it's anti-infantry 2 up, so he's hitting on 2s, wounding on 2s, and let's not forget he's got sustained hits. So against hordes, Titus is going to absolutely shred through those termagants like a hot knife through butter, just like in Space Marine 2. But against anything more durable, he's going to have an issue. But at least if you've got sustained hits, and then he's targeting the open moment target, he's getting +1 a wound. Let's not forget as well. So yeah, okay. And you can give him Lance and extra AP if you need to with Gladius. So it's okay, but only damage 1. It would have been nice if it was like a master-crafted chainsword, really, but okay. He's also 5 more points than a standard lieutenant, but okay. He does have an extra wound and a 5 up feel no pain for that, so he's a lot more durable than a normal lieutenant. He can't just be sniped out. He is an epic hero after all, and if he's killed in combat on a 2 up, he can fight on death. So yeah, he's kind of like a side grade to a normal lieutenant, I think. Better against some targets, worse against others. But yeah, pretty cool. I like it. I'm glad he's actually got a data sheet now, considering he's had a model for quite some time. So there's Titus. Other new data sheets coming out. Got the new Rattling Sniper data sheet. When I first looked at this, I thought, not much has changed, but then I had a deeper look, and I realised if you have a 10 Rattling unit, I was going to say 10 man, but they're hobbits. 10 man unit, you can have a tank stopper rifle, you can have demolition gear, and you can have a Rattling battle mutt, which I'm assuming is a dog. So the dog once per game can give them lethal hits. Okay, fine. They've still got the move, shoot, move. They can still infiltrate. They've still got stealth. They're still the same amount of points. The demolition gear gives them the grenades keyword, which is nice, but they're Rattlings. But the main thing is this one tank stopper rifle they'll have, which looks interesting. Strength 9, AP 3, D6 damage. It's like a super big sniper rifle. So that's quite cool if you want a big unit of Rattlings. Me personally, I'll probably stick with 5-man units or 5 Hobbit units. But if you want a big 10-man unit, you get a couple of extra cool things. So, I guess that's nice. Other data sheet changes. Aquilans, touched on them a little bit earlier. Their precision drop's been changed now, so they can only drop in 1 6 inches away and only in their movement phase. Other than that, I don't think anything's changed, I don't think. So yeah, okay. And then orc players. Breaker boys. You've got a combat unit, a melee unit that can actually deal with vehicles now. These guys look pretty cool. Move 6, toughness 5, 4 up, save, 2 wounds. Kind of like standard knobs, I guess. They have little pistols, which are kind of cool. Or at least the knob does, which is quite a cool little pistol. Shame he only hits on 5s, but 9 AP, 2 free damage is quite nice. And then they all get smash hammers. Smash! Basically, they're like mini Hulks with 4s hammers. Anti-vehicle, anti-monster 4 up, which is nice. 2 attacks each. Hit on 3, strength 6, AP 2, free damage. Wounding vehicles and monsters on 4s. That's going to do some damage. And then one of them can have a tank hammer, which is exactly the same, except for it's got devastating wounds, which, let's not forget, will trigger on 4-ups against monsters and vehicles. So that's really cool. They've got the bomb squigs. They got 2 bomb squigs, which is nice. And they always reroll charges. So I think they're really cool little unit. So it's going to be interesting to see how these do, especially with the overall changes. Yeah, I think that's cool. I think that's all I wanted to discuss in this video. If I've missed any big changes that you've seen that I haven't mentioned, then comment below. I hope this was helpful to some people and interesting. I'll be interested to hear everyone else's thoughts and feelings on Space Marines especially, but also on some of these other changes. And thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.